kicking and field position and all that kind of thing.
Oh, the philosophy.
In other words, I was overstepping my intelligence.
No, no. Oh, you talk about on the philosophies of the kicking game.
On field goal kickers and that kind of thing.
Right. Well, we're open to suggestions. So instead of singing and dancing, you went to the kicking game.
Yes.
That's all right. It's good stuff. I guess we're all rolling. So my post game, as always, were pretty accurate to what happened in the game. In that defense was terrific. Guys made some really good plays. Had some guys that were beat up a little bit on offense and put some other guys in, and we weren't very good rushing the football on first down. We ended up in too many second nines and second eights versus pass defense, and that's where we got behind the chains and never could really play catch up. But give a lot of credit to them for what they did. Had a nice scheme and got good players, but defense found a way to win the game for us, and is proud of our team. So we're moving forward from that. We'll have our hands full this weekend, just like we do every other weekend. This team is very capable of beating anybody in this league at any time. Probably the best passing quarterback that we will face up to this point. And defensively, Tony's had a lot of success there in his scheme and what they try to accomplish. And so hoping we can get a few guys healthy in a couple days and have some good practice, and looking forward to going out there and playing at noon on Saturday.
After you watch tape, could you tell what the problems were on offense?
We didn't block them. Couldn't block them up front and run the football. And that's why we ended up in second 9, second 8. So you're swimming uphill right from the start. They were a little more physical than we were up front, and we weren't as successful at creating running lanes to allow us to get into second and 6 and second and 5.
In particular, center, how Johnny Wilson, and I know there was give and take there. He was going against one of the tougher guys interior-wise defensively in this league in Poona Ford, but I noticed he got Poona on his back a couple of times, but I think it was really a give and take. What'd you see?
For playing in really his second to third game of his career and doing what we asked him to do up to this point, he was fantastic. But it wasn't an easy day for him. He learned a lot based on competing against a zero nose guard who's a good football player. And there's times he won, but there's times that he didn't. And that's going to happen when you're playing against or competing essentially man-on-man against a guy that's a really good player. And so we're thrilled with what he did. We're thrilled with how he handled himself. But it'll be interesting to see where he's at this time next year compared to where he's at now, just based on youth and inexperience.
What aspect of the defense did you like the best? What impressed you more?
With our defense, they were very resilient. I felt guilty continuing to walk out in the huddle after all that transpired of saying, hey, we need to stop. We need to stop. We need to stop. I know I just told you guys this. We need to stop. I know we fumbled. Hey, we need to stop. I know we missed a field goal. We need to stop. I know we let them return the ball to the 45 on the kickoff return. Hey, we need to stop. They just kept going. And my concern playing them, like always, is they're very physical across the board. They have big, thick running backs that can pound on you and beat you down. Quarterback is, I don't know, 220. What does he weigh? He's about 5'11". I think I went up to him after the game, and I thought I was taller. I mean, I was taller than him, but he's got to weigh 220. I don't know. They can wear you down. I was concerned on the perimeter, whether those long, rangy receivers would wear us down on quick things out in the flat. And it happened some, but overall, guys just were resilient. And that's what impressed me the most. They just kept going. There wasn't any look in their eye like, why is this happening? But I will attribute a lot of that to the culture that we've created here, to where our players know just to play the next play. And it wasn't easy, but they were fantastic. Defensive staff was great. Now here's the bad news. West Virginia could give a flip about that. And that's what we told them last night at practice. So if they're eating the rat poison, they're going to get sick later in the week. So they better not eat the rat poison. They better get back to work, because they got a different challenge this week, and that's the way it is in this league. Certainly is for us.
You mentioned in your post-game Saturday there are holes in the defense you guys faced that you just didn't exploit. What did you feel like, or what opportunities did you think you guys missed? Was it not using the middle of the field enough, or were there certain areas that, looking back on it, you thought maybe you guys could have generated more offense out of?
Well, after we watched the tape and then had meetings yesterday and today, up until I walked into here, everybody had a lot of ideas. Unfortunately, we couldn't get any of them to the point where we could help ourselves on Saturday. But the first question I was asked was really the issue. If you can't run the ball and you're in 2nd and 9 versus a pass defense, then there's really not a lot of answers. If they're playing all run and you can't throw it, there's really not a lot of answers, especially when you're playing a very talented team. And or, as I say this a lot, playing a team where you're about the same, then the scheming, the game plan, the run pass, so on, blitz, zone, all those things factor in. But when they're just lining up and saying good luck to you and you're not having any success, it makes for a long day. They had a guy in the middle of the field. You mentioned the middle of the field. They have a robber. They have a guy in the middle of the field. He should be up there playing run. He's back there playing pass. And we couldn't accomplish our goal, and that's what made it it felt like the game went on forever for me, because I love defense, I love special teams, but I still have offense deep inside me. And when you can't make any plays, it's just kind of like leaving me dangling out there with my feet off the ground. And that's what happened in the game.
Will you say this again?
We'll see it the first play this week.
Mike,
I've got a spy out there in Morgantown, a friend of mine. He's got a burr haircut. He's about 74 years old. He's originally from West Virginia, Florida area. Is Wickline in his 70s now?
no, I don't think so. 60s.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I would say we'll see it the first snap.
On the back end of their defense, they mixed it up some. I mean, they couldn't help themselves. A couple of times they bring the safety up, go back to 2 deep, and maybe throw a blitz in there. It seems like you hit them a couple of times. The pass that McCleskey dropped, the one he caught and got you down in the red zone, the 23-yarder, it looked like Mason at least saw some times when he had that hole for that skinny post or whatever, he had the slot running.
The one he dropped and the one that he caught were both in a pass defense. They made adjustments late and tried to come after us a couple times, but that's not what they did for the most part. I mean, they just set up and played what they were playing. They just lived in it.
Does West Virginia have the personnel to pull that off?
Sure.
Michael, that 90, right after the fumble, they hit the 90-yard pass play, and it was hard to tell for sure whether it stayed in bounds or not. Did you ask for, or did you give an explanation on why that play may not have been reviewed, because Texas was able to run that next play pretty quickly?
Well, there was two parts to that. The first was I was making sure that we explained to number 4, when you play good teams, that you can't go up and just push them out of bounds and think they're just going to go out of bounds, because they won't. They're going to try to stay in bounds and score like our guys do. And he, as a young player, learned a lesson on taking a play off. And then secondly, I asked, was he out of bounds? And I was getting the one-sided comment that you would expect from our team was, yeah, he stepped out twice. That's what you expect, right? Texas's guys were saying, no, he didn't. Was I shocked that they didn't review it? Yes. I'm shocked. Well, let's make sure. We have the capability. We've invested millions of dollars in replay. Why didn't we review it? I know he had white shoes on, and I know it was a white sideline. But in my opinion, it's worth at least taking a look. It's an 80-something yard play. Now, should I have called timeout? Could have. But they're supposed to be looking at that all while the play's going on and while they're getting back to the line. And there was about a 17-second delay, and they didn't review it. So basically what they're telling you is you're just burning a timeout. Okay? Less than 3% of the time in college football during a span of a season are they going to give you a timeout and then change the review. Less than 3%. So if you were in Vegas and you were sitting there playing blackjack and you had a less than a 3% chance, you're probably not going to, you're going to walk away. So I'm not sure, but, you know, I can't debate it. Do I understand it? No. We review everything else. Why not review that? Pretty close, so.
Well, we're on the officials. Were you given an explanation for the inadvertent whistle on the Texas punt? And have you seen anything like that before, where a whistle seems like clearly blew and the play was allowed to continue?
I was told the whistle was blown before before the ball was snapped, and it was a ready for play whistle. You asked me what I was told, so.
I don't know what your conversation was. Even the punter held up, and you ended up, if I were you, I would have wanted that punt replay because it was a really good. Of course, he could have kicked it even further, but it's his day.
I just wanted him to say the ball was snapped and we blew a whistle and we made a mistake, but we're sorry, we can't replay. And but that's what I was told. I was told it was a ready for play whistle that was blown before the ball was snapped, and that's part of the game. Now, there was 21 people that stopped. The only person that didn't was the returner, and that's because he couldn't hear it because he was returning. We played almost 212 plays in that game. There was only one play that everybody on the field stopped. So I would say there was an issue.
Do you talk to the Big 12 conference about issues like that?
I don't have to now because I just told y'all. I'm sure I'll get an email. There's probably one already on my way. But it's okay. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying it's unusual that there's 211 football plays and on one play everybody stopped.
I would think they'd want feedback like that.
I thought about calling Mike Leach because he's really good at giving feedback on officials. But I wasn't sure that he was up yet because it's 11:17. It's 9:17 there, so he's not quite out of bed. So I'll have to catch him in about an hour.
Mike, you made the comment about defensive guys eating the rat poison. Obviously, it's mostly a media thing, but this week, does it expand beyond the media? I mean, these guys are Mason Rudolph for a week.
No doubt. Sure. We told him that. You know, the power of social media and your buddies and people texting you and this is how great you are. And when you're 20 years old, well, when you're 50 years old, if you don't watch it and you listen to people tell you how great you are, you start to think you're great. And in this game, you can find out real quick. So what you're saying is exactly right. I have tried to stress it to them over and over and over that, guys, listen, West Virginia doesn't give a flip, okay? They don't care. And I've already had my buddies, I have my cronies. After they've finished their 16th Old Milwaukee Light, they'll text me on different things. And one of them would be that make sure that you do a better job with West Virginia than you did with TCU after the Pitt game. So that's an example of what you're talking about. Everybody's aware of it, so I've tried to stress them to it. Maybe they're right. Maybe I didn't do a good job of saying, guys, look, Pitt's over with. Pitt's over with. TCU's a good team. TCU's a good team. TCU's a good team. West Virginia's a good team. So they better figure it out really quick because this team is as capable of beating anybody in the league on any given Saturday.
Of course, this week, based on what I saw in the media and what I'm getting from fans, even on the radio this morning, you don't have to worry at all about the offense because the anti-rat poison's what the offenses did this week.
Oh, yeah. Well, that takes care of itself. It's the same guys that have gone over and above on whatever it is that they're consuming, and they go one way when the offense and the other way with the defense, regardless either way. So.
Could you talk a little bit about West Virginia offensively and then defensively, kind of in depth?
Well, I'd mentioned, they're balanced. One thing they do, they're going to run 8 or 10 plays, and they're going to have a 2 or 3 play wrinkle every Saturday. That's what the system they're in. That's what they do. I think this guy throws it better than anybody that we've played up to this point. Defensively, Tony's had a ton of success. I mean, they're a 3-down team, and they've played the 3. They play some 3+. They played some 1. They'll blitz. They'll play 0, and they'll play some 2 deep. But what we saw Saturday is what they're going to play. They're going to play 2 robber. And so our guys got to come up with an answer for it and try to fit it into our schemes the best way possible.
Given Stoneman handled punts on Saturday, how would you assess his performance in the game?
Well, we don't ever want to bobble a punt, but everybody out there is probably going to drop their jaw on this, but I thought he did a great job. That guy punted the ball so high that whatever the 300 section is at that stadium, they got to read the serial number on the football. And he did it multiple times, okay? It was 90 degrees. There's 95,000 people there. The wind was blowing a little bit of a crosswind, a little bit more this way to this way at about 18 to 20 miles an hour. The sun was out. And he punted those balls so far, and he's an Australian kicker where he kicks a little bit to the side so you don't get a pure rotation on the ball. So there's a little bit of a knuckleball to it, kind of a Charlie Huff theory. And when I watched it, and I looked at him, and he was moving around, and I thought, this is not good. And then I looked up the ball, and the ball was still 200 feet in the air after about 4 seconds. I thought, now I understand what his problem is. So honestly, I thought he did a great job. That is not easy to catch one of those. You guys ought to come out to practice, and we have a jugs machine, this new jugs machine that we bought. I let Holder let me borrow some money, so we bought a new jugs machine, and I could throw a ball out of that like that, and you should get under it and try to catch it. It's unbelievable how hard it is. He did a great job. So we'll continue to work it. McCleskey still works it. 88 works it. So we'll let all 3 of them keep working.
Is Stunner your number 1 guy moving forward, though, as it seems after this weekend?
Yes. Yeah.
So it was good machine that can make the ball wobble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is a good jugs machine. The other one we had was 19 years old. And you know the old tires? Well, the tires had actually worn themselves down. So Holder let me borrow $4,000. And they bought this new jugs machine, and it's awesome. It works good.
Is there an Australian setting on the jugs machine?
Yeah, well, you can kind of knuckle it. Yeah.
You tried to catch anything from that yet?
No interest. 2 reasons. 1, I don't want to, jam or break a finger. And 2, there's no way I'd be tough enough to sit there and try to catch a ball that high with 6 guys running down there trying to hit you. Tough job.
When you're subbing guys out on the offensive line, like you guys did Saturday, how difficult does it make it for you to run the tempo that you want your offense to be at?
It's difficult. Before the year, you guys asked me things that I was concerned about. You can go back on your notes. You guys all have these high-dollar computers. One was depth of the offensive line, and that's not a position where you can run guys in and out because it's hard to keep continuity, the communication, what Lundblade says, and then Larry gets it, and Larry passes to Crab, and so on and so forth. And you move a few guys around. They don't talk the same. They don't feel the same. when that happens, there's a few issues. Now, we didn't play good offensively because we got out-coached. We didn't make good adjustments, and we didn't run the ball effectively on first down. But I would like to get some continuity built back in there and let these guys start working together. Makes it a little easier for the communication. There's a lot that goes on with those guys. People don't, you guys do because you do this for a living, but people outside don't pay enough attention to what goes on there. It's a different world living inside those, inside the box. And so I'm hoping that we can get 75 and 73 back out there by the middle of the week to create a little bit of continuity, practice-wise. If not, we'll mix and match and do the best we can.
Any other questions?
All right, thanks.